Hello, my name is Kimberly Wilson of Tranquility to Shore, and welcome to another episode of Tea with Kimberly. So, what I want to share today is my newfound passion for ballet. Okay, newfound since 2018, and honestly, as a child and as an adult, have loved to go see ballet. But really, since January 2018 is when I started back to ballet classes and have been pretty consistent since. And since the pandemic, I have been doing ballet nearly daily. All right. And I just last month in June of 2022, I had my first ballet performance and went to a festival and won second place. As you can see, there's a little medal over there. It's very exciting. Anyway, I say all this to share that it's freaking hard and it's so fabulous and fun. So I just wanted to give you some tips in case you too are interested in starting ballet or honestly any form of movement that may be new to you. I want to give some tips to get started, get going, and be really kind and gentle to yourself. Okay, first of all, you can probably see behind me, I've got a bar. So I have a pink bar that I found online. If you would like to do ballet, it's helpful to have a bar. Now, if you don't want to have the investment in a bar, which is maybe like $100, or you are just like, I don't know if I have a space for it or if I will even like it this much, totally understand. You can use a chair back. So even that chair that has the pink pillow on it, you could use that to do ballet. Okay. Just sometimes it doesn't feel quite as steady and, you run into the legs of the chair, things like that, but it's totally doable. So you want some sort of bar. Now, this is if you're doing it at home. You don't need a bar if you're going to a ballet studio. Okay. And so for finding a ballet studio, you want to look for a place that has adult classes and beginner level, ideally intro to beginner, because some of the beginner levels are incredibly hard and they're kind of catered to 2 to 5 years of experience. So you want to check in with the ballet school and is this beginner really for a beginner? Now, if you've been doing ballet like you did as a child or a teenager and you know some of the terminology in your body still has some muscle memory, then maybe a beginner ballet class will be fine. But I will say, I probably did ballet, I don't know, like 5, 6 years as a child and preteen or early teenager. And, I needed to go right back to intro and I still take intro to ballet classes. So there's no shame in that. You're going to need some ballet slippers. All right. So these are canvas or leather. I tend to choose the canvas ones and they're just great. You want them to hug your feet. You can go get them fitted because you can also buy them, online, but sometimes it's nice to make sure you're getting the right size and fit for your body or your foot because it varies from brand to brand. Like, does it match your street size or not? So slippers are so fun. Okay, what to wear? I tend to wear my uniform, which is this black 2-in-1 fitted top from TDJ, my clothing line, and then just black leggings. But sometimes I like to do a leotard. And I do have a leotard that we did through TDJ a while back, which is basically the 2-in-1, but it's sleeveless and it has, built in kind of like leotard. So that's a fun piece to do. And then I wear pink tights over it. Okay, so a leotard with pink tights, always great. And you feel very ballet in it, but also just like black works too. Okay, you also just want to keep in mind, you want to have your hair pulled back. And ideally, if you have bangs, pull those back too. So you just don't want, things in your way as you're folding forward and whatnot. Classes. There's a lot of beautiful online classes. I have been doing ballet virtually mainly throughout the pandemic. And since the pandemic, well, I guess we're still in it, but you know what I mean. So since March 2020, I've been doing virtual classes. I've taken one in-studio class in New York City at Joffrey Ballet, which was phenomenal. But she also does her class virtual, and I love taking it virtually. So the great thing about virtual classes, you can take with teachers all over the world, really. But I have found great teachers and I tend to really hone in on them. So Broche Ballet, Julie, Vanessa from Vitality Ballet, Sean, and there's Anne, a few others that are really fabulous at Ballet Academy East. I love taking from Joffrey Ballet, Desiree, I believe is her name. And so there's a lot of great resources. Oh my gosh, Washington Ballet, Roy Zachary. There's a lot of really, really amazing teachers out there. And try different ones because different ones are going to fit your personality differently. My teacher, Sean, who I've been doing private sessions with for a couple of years, is just like perfect for me. He's very encouraging. He pushes a little, but he also is just like, good job. And I need a lot of good jobs to kind of keep motivated and keep going, especially when you're quite challenged, as I am. Space. Now you may be like, how much space do you need? So you can kind of tell, like, this is my little dance studio space. Honestly, I have done this at Airbnbs that have small kitchen areas. You really don't need much space. Like, say with a yoga practice, right? You need the yoga mat space. This, I would say, if you could have 2 yoga mat spaces, you're doing pretty well. Okay, so don't worry about space so much. And if they get into jumping and things on the floor, because maybe it's a hybrid class where some people are in person and you're online, then you may just want to sign out at that point because there's not a lot of space for jumping in our homes, and your neighbors below may not like that very much. Another thing is to see if you can. This is really hard. This is hard for me. It's hard for me to learn choreography and to memorize. So the teacher at the beginning, they'll show, okay, we're going to do this combination. And I'm like, oh my God, like there's no way I could replicate that. But I've gotten a little better, but it really takes a lot of mental practice. Now, know that it's okay if that never comes for you. And some of you may be like I've met people who are like, I can see something and immediately do it, like I just get choreography in my body. That is not me. So, the teacher will show you some exercises. They'll say certain words like tendu, passe, first position, second position, all of these, a la seconde, pirouette, all these things that can be really helpful to try to get into your brain as to what they are. And there's a lot of great books out there that can help with this, or you can watch kind of beginner level videos where people talk through things. I know I've done certain pieces in a class, like maybe a glissade. And I'm like, glissade. So after the class, I'll go and I'll get online how to do a glissade. And somebody have a YouTube video that walks you through it. And then you're like, okay, I'm getting it. Because some teachers are really good at giving you personal feedback during a class. And some are just like, you're kind of just in the background. And that's okay too. So you just find what works for you. But if you find yourself getting a little frustrated, it's nice to know there's a lot of great resources on YouTube. So try to memorize. It's wonderful, great brain challenge. As a teacher shows something, just like, okay, I get this. And sometimes too, you'll see people doing this with their hands. It's like, okay, 3 tendus, 3 tendus, 3 tendus, right? And so it's like getting that sort of movement in your hands kind of helps get it into your body. All right. So those are my tips. The last thing I want to say, and this is critical, because ballet, many things, anything you're learning that's new, right, can be very frustrating. Very frustrating. I feel like with ballet, it's 2 steps forward, 1.5 steps back. Like it's so much work to see progress. And, life is like this and many other things, but especially ballet. And so there's been many times where I'm like crying at the end of class because I get so frustrated. It's like math for me, math is like that. We're just like, oh, trigonometry, what the hell is that? And so, it's a similar, right, with ballet. And so I've really had to, okay, be gentle, be gentle. Saying to yourself, right, instead of like, I can't do pirouettes, like, I can't do a pirouette yet, right? So you work on the way in which you speak to yourself, and you want to be very gentle, kind, and loving. Okay, so one thing too, during the pandemic, I have this mirror, but I don't face the mirror when I'm doing ballet. I face my computer so I can watch the teacher. And I will say, I think that's been not great for my progress. Because whenever you do have a mirror, you see, oh, my arm is like this or like this. It's sagging. It's usually sagging, right? And so you want to really get that arm extended, and you want to pay attention to your elbows, and you can't if you don't have a mirror. So if you can get a mirror and turn and face it, so I just have to bring a table over there and have my computer there when I take class, then that is going to be a lot more helpful, so that you can make sure that you're staying, up with the right technique, and that you're kind of getting it right. Because sometimes putting your foot at your ankle, you're like, I think it's there, but it's really your shin. So just little things to pay attention to. But I say all that to come back to the piece around being gentle with yourself. No, this is supposed to be fun. I remember going to my partner at the end of a class, May of 2021. You see, I've let it go. It was a beginner class, but it was so hard. And I'm like, it's so hard. I'm like, the word, I'm not getting this. And he's like, Kimberly, this is supposed to be fun. I'm like, it's not fun. Right. And so it's like, what are you doing? Like, chill. Like, this is okay. You're not auditioning for ABT. Like, it's okay. So you couldn't get your pirouettes, or your hips were moving in your rond de jambe, right? Like, okay, it's not great, but who cares? And so I was like, okay, it was helpful to just have that moment. And then I was also able after that to talk to my private teacher and just be like, yeah, this class was really hard and I wasn't getting this. And, and then we were able to work with the pieces privately, which can be helpful. So just, keep this in mind, like the idea around, I don't have it yet, really thinking of the growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Fixed is like, I could never do ballet. I have 2 left feet, right? Okay, that's a fixed mindset. Growth mindset is, okay, I know I'm a little more challenged when it comes to choreography. Let me see how I can do. Let me give this a go. Let me take a really basic class and see how it feels. All right, so I hope you are inspired to try ballet or a new form of movement. Maybe it's modern, maybe it's jazz, maybe it's yoga, whatever it might be, and just recognize the joy and challenge and excitement, really, of being a beginner. All right, happy balleting. Let me know how your journey goes. You can find me over at KimberlyWilson.com. Thanks for tuning in.